do with me?
Oh, I want to show you off to my ex-wife and make her really jealous.
Hello, and welcome to a heartbreaking new episode of RT Essentials. I'm Naz Perez, and we all know that the history of filmmaking is filled with love stories. But we also know that love is complicated, which is why there are also plenty of breakup stories out there as well, which, if I'm being honest, can scratch us in a more familiar place than classic love stories do. Because the simple fact is, almost all of us have been dumb. And whether you turn to breakup movies to feel all the feels, or just to feel one particular feeling that can only be repaired with a tub of ice cream, these films definitely serve a major purpose in the world of cinema. So get your tissues ready, because today we are talking about the best breakup movies of all time to laugh and ugly cry to. Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
You know how we thought the killer before he committed each homicide?
That's the theory.
Take a look in the microscope.
Oh yeah. Looks like where he's going. No need to know how to
Kicking things off with one that I'm sure you remember in spite of its title, and that's 2008's Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Co-produced by Judd Apatow, this comedy was written by and stars Jason Segel, who said that the film is based on his experiences with multiple breakups. And yes, that includes the infamous nude breakup scenes in this film. He plays Peter, the boyfriend of big shot TV star Sarah Marshall, played by Kristen Bell, who unceremoniously dumps him, leaving his world shattered. So Peter goes to Hawaii by himself to try and get over her, and wouldn't you know it, Sarah and her new boyfriend, Russell Brand's Aldous Snow, just happen to be in Hawaii too, at the same hotel in the room next door. And while he's there, Peter falls for a hotel employee played by Mila Kunis, tossing a little drama into the whole situation. And while the big breakup takes center stage in this movie, what really carries it is the ultra funny cast, which, according to director Nicholas Stoller, improvised 30 to 40% of the film's dialogue. And while romantic connections are made, the real chemistry here is between Jason Segel and Paul Rudd, who would continue their bromance the following year in I Love You, Man. And Kristen Bell and Mila Kunis, two powerhouses in their own right, play great off of each other in this film as well. And they too join forces again in the Bad Moms franchise. The critics were all about the cast in this one too, with a consensus that, quote, Forgetting Sarah Marshall finds the right mix of romantic and raunchy comedy.
So does that mean I have to leave the hotel?
Ken found you a room.
I'll take it. Yeah, I want to hang out with Rachel a little more.
Are those sad tissues or happy tissues?
Maybe you should just give me a minute.
And if 5 nominations at the 2018 Choice Awards tells you anything, which it shouldn't, it's that this breakup movie and Your Next Friday Night are the perfect match. Legally Blonde.
Okay, I'm gonna show you a little maneuver that my mother taught me in junior high. In my experience, it has a 98% success rate of getting a man's attention, and when used appropriately, it has an 83% rate of return on a dinner invitation.
Wow.
It's called the Bend and Snap.
The next film on this list might as well be filed under educational because it's the perfect blueprint for how to better yourself after a big breakup. I'm talking about Legally Blonde. Reese Witherspoon stars in this one as fashion student and sorority girl Elle Woods, and she's on the fast track to a perfect life until her boyfriend, who she thinks is going to propose, breaks up with her instead. He's headed to Harvard Law School en route to a career in politics, and he doesn't think that she is serious enough for a life like that. But in an effort to win him back, Elle works her tail off and actually gets into Harvard Law herself, only to find out that her ex has moved on to his old girlfriend, and all of Elle's new East Coast classmates are not feeling her SoCal vibes and her on-point style. And speaking of style, Reese actually wrote it into her contract that she got to keep all of her outfits from filming. So smart. The film was directed by Robert Luketic in his feature film debut, and it's based on Amanda Brown's 2001 novel of the same name, where the author touches on her own experiences as a blonde going to Stanford Law School while being obsessed with fashion and beauty. After opening in theaters in July of 2001, the movie became a huge hit, to the tune of over $140 million on an $18 million budget. And listen, I'm no math whiz, but that usually means sequels in Hollywood, and in this case, there was. Legally Blonde 2, Red, White, and Blonde in 2003, and there's now a third Legally Blonde film officially in the works with Mindy Kaling and Dan Gore writing it, which is due out in 2022, so buckle up for more Blonde.
I'm sorry?
Sorry for what? For breaking my heart or for giving me the greatest pleasure I've ever known and then just taking it away?
Both?
Well, forget it. I've already spent too many hours crying over you.
So, when did you want to go out?
Reese Witherspoon may have just missed out on winning an MTV Movie Award for her role in this film, no thanks to Nicole Kidman and Moulin Rouge, but the consensus from critics is that Reese Witherspoon's funny, nuanced performance makes this movie better than it would have been otherwise. Call Me By Your Name.
Trust me, I'm about to be a doctor. Hey, come here. See, that's the problem. Too stressed. You just gotta relax a little bit.
I am relaxing.
Marcia, come here for a minute. Back me up here. Feel that. Right there? It's too tight, man. He needs to relax. Later.
You should relax more.
If there's one thing you can call this next film, it would be award-winning or certified fresh. I know that's two things, but let's just move on. It's 2017's Call Me By Your Name. This coming-of-age drama was directed by Luca Guadagnino and is set in northern Italy in 1983, where a romantic relationship forms between 17-year-old Elio and a 24-year-old American grad student named Oliver. Now, Oliver is living with Elio's family for the summer as he works under his father, an archaeology professor. But as their relationship grows stronger, so does the dreadful reality that Oliver will be heading back to America at the end of the summer. And of course, heartbreak ensues when he does go back, and tears were shed. We're talking about me now. I'm a crier. Anyways, this film actually wraps up what is known as Luca Guadagnino's Desire trilogy, after 2009's I Am Love and 2015's Bigger Splash. And the script, which was written by James Ivory and based on Andre Acimon's 2007 novel of the same name, brought home the Oscar for Adapted Screenplay. And while the sprawling 17th century property in northern Italy where filming took place was definitely a star, 22-year-old Timothée Chalamet became the third youngest Best Actor nominee in Oscars history for his performance. Plus, he learned a third language for this movie. I mean, is there anything Timothée can't do? The film itself was also nominated for an Academy Award for Best Picture, but perhaps what's even more cool is that a book was published in 2018 by a fan named Barb Morell, who collected stories from fellow fans around the world about what this film has meant to them. Amazon it. And critics fell in love too, with Robert Daniels from 812 Film Reviews complimenting the quote, poignant screenwriting, keen directing, and tender acting.
Mafalda? Maman? Ouais, c'est moi. Ah ouais, tout va bien. Je suis à la station à Clouzone. Écoute, maman, tu peux venir me chercher, maman.
With a critics' consensus that this film offers a melancholy, powerfully affecting portrait of first love. High Fidelity.
Now, the making of a good compilation tape is a very subtle art, many do's and don'ts. First of all, you're using someone else's poetry to express how you feel. This is a delicate thing. So for this one, I'm thinking. When is this gonna stop?
It is time to dust off the old vinyl collection for this next breakup flick, High Fidelity. Released in the year 2000, this film stars John Cusack as Rob Gordon, a record store owner who gets dumped by his long-term girlfriend Laura, played by Ibn Yayal. So he starts seeking out past partners to try and figure out why his relationships keep failing. Besides the fact that he owned a record store at a time when CDs were out. I mean, look it up. Rob's journey to find answers and love brought us some great performances from stars like Catherine Zeta-Jones, Lisa Bonet, Sarah Gilbert, and Lily Taylor. And when Rob wasn't chasing love, he was watching his record store employees, played brilliantly by Jack Black and Todd Luiso, chase away customers. This while they argued over musical top 5 lists for pretty much any and every occasion that you can imagine. The film was directed by Stephen Frears and based on the 1995 British novel of the same name by Nick Hornby, with the setting moved from London to Chicago. And with what has become a certified fresh cult classic, became a series adaptation 20 years after the film was released, starring Zoe Kravitz, the daughter of Lisa Bonet. You'll love to see it. The consensus from critics on this one is that strong performances by the ensemble cast combine to tell an entertaining story.
I'm going to talk to you about whether or not you want to get married to me. I'm serious.
Yes, I know.
Thanks a bunch.
I'm sorry. 2 days ago, you were making tapes for that girl from the Reader.
Yeah.
Well, forgive me if I don't think of you as the world's safest bet.
Would you marry me if I was?
With Stephen Ray from the Philadelphia Inquirer calling High Fidelity one long, hook-filled pop song for the eyes. And don't forget about the Bruce Springsteen cameo. The First Wives Club.
I do have feelings. I'm an actress. I have all of them. Well, I wouldn't understand. You see, I'm just a poor little housewife in a little apron with a little child to raise. Yeah, well, you were always jealous of me, even in college, because I was blonde and beautiful and talented, and I got any guy I wanted, and did. Every guy. Most of the senior class and half the faculty. Well, it was the 60s.
If you were lucky enough to be invited into this club in 1996, you were hanging with Hollywood royalty. I'm talking about The First Wives Club. Directed by Hugh Wilson and based on Olivia Goldsmith's 1992 novel of the same name, this film stars Diane Keaton, Bette Midler, and Goldie Hawn as three divorcees looking for payback against their ex-husbands who have left them for younger women. And as if that wasn't enough star power for you, the young lovers are played by Sarah Jessica Parker, Marcia Gay Harden, and Elizabeth Berkley. And by the way, joining this stacked cast was a handful of wonderfully 90s cameos from people like Kathy Lee Gifford, Gloria Steinem, and Ivana Trump. You're welcome. The story unfolds as a middle-aged divorcee jumps off a building after her ex marries a younger woman. And when her college friends, Midler, Hawn, and Keaton, come together for her funeral, they realize how similar all of their divorce stories are, and they set out to get back at their exes for taking them for granted. The film was considered a surprise box office success after grossing more than $181 million at the worldwide box office. And despite mixed reviews and a rotten 49% on the tomato meter, it has since developed a cult following, mostly among middle-aged women. It also marks the three main actresses' highest grossing project of the 90s, and as critics have argued, helped breathe new life into some of their careers. To go along with the film's poor score from critics is a consensus that, quote, the script lets the trio of comedic dynamos down with tepid plotting and a fatal lack of satirical bite. The actresses, though, have showed interest in a sequel over the years, sparking plenty of rumors. In the meantime, though, there's a series based on the film that premiered on BET Plus in 2019.
Do it, Morris. Do it to me now. I need it. You're the only one who does it the way I like it. You're the king.
Elise, if I give you any more collagen, your lips are gonna look like they got stuck in a pool drain.
And of course, they could always bring back First Wives Club the musical because, I mean, come on, everything's better as a musical. 500 Days of Summer.
We've been like Sid and Nancy for months now.
Summer. Sid stabbed Nancy. 7 times at the kitchen. I mean, we have some disagreements, but I hardly think I'm Sid Vicious.
No, I'm Sid.
The next movie on this list, 2009's 500 Days of Summer, is another great example of how music can perfectly capture the highs and the lows of love. Joseph Gordon-Levitt stars as a greeting card writer named Tom, who is completely caught off guard when his girlfriend Summer, played by Zooey Deschanel, suddenly dumps him. The film jumps around to various moments as he reflects back on their 500 days together as a couple. This was the feature film debut for director Mark Webb, who went on to helm both amazing Spider-Man films, but who was mostly a music video director at the time. He described the film as more of a coming-of-age story as opposed to a rom-com, while others just called it the breakout indie hit of the summer in 2009, and I mean, what a nice compliment. The film was set in San Francisco for an early draft of the screenplay before eventually moving to Los Angeles, which definitely plays a role in the film along with the soundtrack, or should I say soundtracks, considering that 2 were released for the film, featuring artists like The Smiths, The Temper Trap, Regina Spektor, Carla Bruni, Wolfmother, Zoe's group She and Him, and a few classics for good measure like Simon & Garfunkel and Hall & Oates. I mean, listen, if they got an ampersand in their name, count me in.
You know what sucks? Realizing that everything you believe in is complete and utter bull. Sucks.
What do you mean?
You know, destiny and soulmates. True love and all that childhood fairy tale nonsense. You were right. I should have listened to you. Yeah, what are you smiling at?
The critics were rocking out to this one as well, with a consensus that this film is, quote, refreshingly honest and utterly charming, with Billy Goody Koontz from the Arizona Republic calling it an immensely satisfying experience, much like love itself. Amen, Robert. Eternal sunshine of the spotless mind.
It would be different if we could just give it another go-round.
Remember me. Try your best. Maybe we can.
And bringing its own little ray of something to this list of breakup movies is 2004's Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Kate Winslet stars in this one as Clementine, who, after a painful breakup, undergoes a procedure to erase memories of her former boyfriend, Jim Carrey's Joel, from her mind. I mean, if only it were that easy, am I right? And when he finds out about these extreme measures she's taking to forget their relationship, Joel undergoes the same procedure and slowly starts to forget the woman that he loved. Joining Jim and Kate on this wild adventure is a stellar ensemble cast that includes Kirsten Dunst, Mark Ruffalo, Elijah Wood, and Tom Wilkinson. It could have been even more impressive because Ellen Pompeo and Tracy Morgan were cast and even filmed some stuff, but their parts ultimately got cut. The film, which gets its title from a quote in an Alexander Pope poem, was directed by Michel Gondry, an accomplished music video director at the time. And the script was written by Charlie Kaufman, writer of films like Adaptation and Being John Malkovich, and mixes some sci-fi elements with psychological drama to explore the nature of memory, love, and loss. Kaufman took home the Oscar for Best Original Screenplay, while Winslet was nominated for Best Actress, but lost to Hilary Swank for $1 Million Baby. I mean, talk about a punch to the gut. Get it? Because that movie was a boxing movie. Anyways. Eternal Sunshine has crept into cult following territory over the years, and there have been rumors of a potential television series based on the film being in development for some time now.
I'm lost. I'm scared. I feel like I'm disappearing. My skin's coming off. I'm getting old. Nothing makes any sense to me.
You're not getting old.
Nothing makes any sense. Nothing makes any sense.
Aww.
But what we can bank on is the fact that critics love this certified fresh flick, with a consensus that Kaufman's smart, imaginative script and Gondry's equally daring directorial touch makes this film a twisty yet heartfelt look at relationships and heartache. Like Crazy.
Vehicles must not be left unattended on any road adjacent to the subway. All vehicles left unattended will be removed.
Oh, you're killing me.
Time to rack up some frequent flyer miles because the next film on this list is all about long-distance relationships, and that's 2011's Like Crazy. The late Anton Yelchin stars in this film as Jacob, an American attending college in Los Angeles, who falls hard for Anna, a student from London played by Felicity Jones. But after falling madly in love, the inseparable lovers are forced apart when she has to return to England after violating the terms of her visa. So they give the long-distance relationship thing a shot and learn just how hard it can be, especially mixed in with their ever-changing lives. Jennifer Lawrence co-stars in this film as well as Samantha, a girl who loves and dates Jacob on and off between his breakups with Anna. Director Drake Doremus partially based the story on his own long-distance relationship with a woman in London while he lived in Los Angeles. But rather than writing a traditional screenplay for the film, he actually put together a 50-page outline with backstory, plot points, specific scene objectives, themes, and emotional moments, and then let the actors improvise almost all of the dialogue from there. Impressive. Filming took place over 4 weeks in LA and London on a budget of just $250,000, which included the cost of airfare for everyone to get over the pond. But despite all that, the certified fresh film premiered at the Sundance Film Festival, where it won the Grand Jury Prize.
Why can't you look at me and tell me? Look at me and
Don't shout!
I'll shout if I want to shout.
No, you won't shout. You won't shout in my house.
All right, then I'll go back to my house.
Yeah.
I'd love to go back to my house.
That's obviously where
I'd love to go right now.
Why are you shouting at me?
Because I don't understand why you can say things like that to me.
Don't
yes,
shout!
I'd rather be there.
The critics' consensus for Like Crazy is that it allows its characters to express themselves beyond dialogue, crafting a true intimate study, with Peter Bradshaw from The Guardian calling it a grown-up love story. Ugh, being a grown-up is the worst. Crazy Stupid Love.
Hi. Who looks like a carrot?
Conan O'Brien. My friend, Hannah here thinks he's sexy.
That's weird because I think that your friend Hannah is really sexy.
Oh my God. You did not just say that. How old are you?
What are you, a lawyer?
A little bit.
Come on.
I know.
You are? Is she?
Gonna be. Don't you think you're a little old to be using cheesy pickup lines?
Objection. Leading the witness.
Get ready for another crazy breakup film from 2011 because the next one on our list is Crazy Stupid Love. This film stars Steve Carell as Cal Weaver, a family man who is living a dream life that checks all the boxes. He's got a good job, a nice house, great children, and a beautiful wife named Emily, played by Julianne Moore. But things start to get crazy and stupid when Cal finds out that Emily has been unfaithful and actually wants a divorce, and his life just starts to unravel. That's when Ryan Gosling's Jacob character, who's a hit with the ladies, enters the picture and takes the over 40 and suddenly single Cal under his wing. The pair hang out so Cal can learn how to navigate the fickle world of dating. And rounding out this impressive cast is Emma Stone, Marissa Tomei, singer Josh Groban in his feature film debut, and Kevin Bacon. Bacon. The film was directed by Glenn Ficarra and John Requa, who wrote 2003's Bad Santa together. And it was written by Dan Fogelman, who based the screenplay on his own experiences while writing it with Steve Carell in mind. I mean, I guess that worked out. They shot it over 53 days in and around Los Angeles, and the result was an original cut that was actually 3 hours long. I mean, that's a lot of crazy. Or was it stupid? Or was it, you get it. And while they managed to trim over an hour off of the total runtime, the Dirty Dancing style lift that Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone managed to pull off still made it into the film, even though it wasn't in the script. And for that I say, seriously, it's like you're photoshopped. Sorry, couldn't help myself. It's like one of my favorite lines ever.
Seriously? It's like you're photoshopped.
Critics were feeling mostly love for this film, with a consensus that its unabashed sweetness and its terrifically talented cast more than make up for its flaws. Marriage Story.
People don't accept mothers who drink too much wine and yell at their child and call him an I get it. I do it too. We can accept an imperfect dad. Let's face it, the idea of a good father was only invented like 30 years ago. Before that, fathers were expected to be silent and absent and unreliable and selfish. And we can all say we want them to be different. But on some basic level, we accept them.
And finally, we're not gonna say that the last film on this list is depressing, but it's not depressing. And that's 2019's Marriage Story. This one stars Adam Driver's Charlie, a theater director in New York City, who's producing a play that stars his wife, Nicole, a former teen film actress played by Scarlett Johansson. The couple is having marital issues and is seeing a mediator, and when Nicole is offered a starring role in a TV pilot in Los Angeles, she decides to temporarily move there and take their son Henry along. Now, Charlie stays in New York to focus on his Broadway-bound play, creating a coast-to-coast divorce situation. And despite agreeing to split amicably, they both end up hiring lawyers and things start to get messy. The supporting cast is rounded out with Laura Dern, Alan Alda, Ray Liotta, Julie Hagerty, and Merritt Weaver, with Dern's character actually being loosely based on LA celebrity attorney Laura Wasser, who, get this, represented Dern, Johansson, and writer-director Noah Baumbach during their respective divorces. In fact, mediation scenes were filmed in Wasser's actual office building. And speaking of their respective divorces, Noah actually based much of the film in large part on his own experiences, following his divorce from actress Jennifer Jason Leigh in 2013. He has said, though, that Jennifer read the script and has seen the film and likes it. The film got some serious Oscar love with 6 nominations, including Best Picture, Best Original Screenplay, Best Actor and Actress for Driver and Johansson, and of course, Best Supporting Actress for Dern, who actually took home the hardware. It was the first Netflix film to win an Academy Award in an acting category, and history was made.
You're being so much like your father.
Do not compare me to my father.
I didn't compare you to him. I said you were acting like him.
You're exactly like your mother. Everything you're complaining about her, you're doing. You're suffocating Henry.
First of all, I love my mother. She was a wonderful mother.
Just repeating what you told me.
Secondly, how dare you compare my mother to my mother? I may be like my father, but I am not like my mother.
You are! And you're like my father. You're also like my mother. You're all the bad things about all of these people. But mostly your mother. When we would lie in bed together, sometimes I would look at you and see her and just feel so gross.
This certified fresh heartbreaker definitely struck a chord with critics too, with a consensus that the powerfully acted Marriage Story is among Noah Baumbach's best works. And TV Guide's Jordan Hoffman also perfectly stated that while the movie is 136 minutes, the recovery period is, well, at least the rest of the night. Okay, who's ready for a breakup? I'm kidding. Friends, that is our list of the best breakup movies to laugh and to cry to. Hopefully viewing these can either help you through a rough moment in love or help you look back on previous heartbreak with better appreciation. In the very least, you're gonna laugh and cry, and we all need both of those things every once in a while. And if you have nowhere to go this Valentine's Day season, I actually founded a support group called Heartbroken Anonymous, where you can come and listen and share stories of heartbreak to remind yourself you are not alone. Thank you guys so much for checking out RT Essentials. I am Naz Perez, and remember, I heart you.